One wheel is now on. There we go. We got it going. All right. So let me go ahead and present my screen to you guys so you can see what we're seeing in class. Then we're going to get rolling. Again, Devin is my mod, so if you got a question, make sure you send it his way. And so that means, Devin, that means if they ask questions, you got to say, hey, Mr. Trogdon, we got a question from the chat. And then you ask it, and then I'll answer, okay? You think this is a big responsibility. I know. This is a big responsibility. But I think you got it, man. Yeah, I'm for real, Gage. When you're in class, you can be my mod if you want to. Don't matter. I need mods. I learned about mods last class. I didn't know what they were. And somebody asked if they could be one. We should have another. You sit down, Gage. You sit down. All right. Okay, it's sharing my screen, or it is in the process of for the project. Okay. For those of you virtual, is my screen being shared? Because on my screen, it's not showing exactly what it usually does. It's not. It's not sharing it. See, this is the problem. I have an issue with this. Mr. T has. Okay. Let me see. So there's the problem. This is the problem. It's not presenting, but it says that it is. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we call a technical difficulty. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to take some of these tabs down. Don't start. Seriously, I hate this happened last week in my first block.
I want to know if you like Cold War.
Yeah, I hadn't played Cold War. I get on some Warzone. Yeah, but I hadn't got Cold War yet.
Cold War.
I've heard that. I ain't got anybody. A couple of my buddies we'll play some Warzone, but nobody's got it yet. When they get it, then I'll probably get it. Golly, why is it not presenting? Sorry, you see me freak out a little bit. I don't like technology. I don't like it at all. Let me try one more thing real quick. And if that don't work, don't waste 60 on it. Oh, okay. You're talking. Okay, I thought you were talking about Google Meet, and I was like, dude, I ain't wasting 60 minutes on this. All right, see, let's try this again. All right. Is it presenting now, Devin?
Yeah.
It is presenting now. All right, dude, we fixed it.
It's loading though, but like it's starting.
Okay, good. So we're getting it fixed. Like we're working on something now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I apologize for the inconvenience. Again, I'm not a technological genius or anything. I struggle with this a lot. I know what you're thinking, Chris. I'm just trying to thought you knew everything. Chris, let's be real now. All right. So for those of you that are virtual, I'm going to share with you what we're looking at in class. There we go. Okay. All right. It's giving me that screen? Jeez. All right. Any different, Devin? Still not different? All right. I'm going to try one more thing. If that don't work, we're just going to roll with it, dude. Just going to roll with it. Okay? Because I'm already getting fed up with this. I'm recording this video, and for the first 7-8 minutes of it, it's just me trying to figure out how to present. I'm going to look like an idiot. Not that I don't, typically anyway, but. And in zone. Sweet.
They're asking if you're talking about Chris Latham.
What about? Huh?
I don't know. You said something about Chris, and they're asking.
Chris? I didn't say anything about Chris.
Oh,
What are they talking about?
I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me try to find it.
Oh, and then I'm digging that, dude.
I don't know. They just said something about Chris.
No, I didn't say anything about Chris. I really did. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. All right. Let's try one more. I'm going to try. I apologize. I really do. I hate to leave you guys waiting. All right. This is my last time I'm trying to share my screen. It's worked for every other class. I don't know why it's not working right now.
There we go.
It's good?
Yeah.
All right. Finally. Okay. Let's finally get class started. So, yesterday we talked about with the first battle of the Marne. What is the Marne? We say the Marne. What are we talking about? The Marne what? River. Very good. On the Marne River. So the first battle of the Marne, Germany's goal is to capture Paris. And what type of city did we say Paris was? We said it was the city of love. We said it was a city of love. Did we not? Call it a city of love. What else did we call it? A city of peace, I think. A city of peace. We also call it the capital city. And that's what I was looking for. But you were right. I wasn't hating on y'all. Y'all were right. I hear the same thing. Paris is the city of love. Have I ever been to Paris? No. Could they be lying to me? Could this all be propaganda? Could be. I don't know. They just might want me to go to Paris. I don't know what they want. But yeah, so Paris is the capital of France. I asked you guys, why is a capital city important? We talked about this yesterday. Why is it? The government's there. That is where the government is centered. That is in every capital. You want to know? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna blow your mind real quick. I want you to be ready for this. You're not gonna be the same after you hear this, Austin. You're gonna step out of this class and you're not gonna be the same person. Did you know that Antarctica is a continent?
Yes.
But it is not a country.
Yes.
Yeah.
You knew that?
Yeah.
I knew that.
Australia isn't a continent, it's actually Oceania.
Okay. I've heard. Why is also, excuse me, I'm nagging on this. Why is Antarctica not a country?
High enough population and there's no capital.
There's not a government.
There's not a government. Not a government. That's the correct answer. For it to be a country, there has to be a government, not just a population. You got really small islands that are countries that have incredibly small populations. You have, land masses around the world. Again, mainly islands that are just kind of territories of countries because they don't have their own government. That is what makes a country. You have to have a government to have a country. So, as Chris was telling us, capital cities are important because that's where the government is centered. That's the center of the government. In war, let's talk about this just in war. In war, what is one thing that the government controls that you really need during war? Bigger than that.
Money.
Bigger than that.
Years.
Okay, let me rephrase this. So the government controls this aspect of war. Actually, no, that's a bad way to frame it too. Let me just tell you what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Who controls the military? The government. The government controls the military. So, again, if you want to take over, if you want to destroy a country's hopes of winning a war, you take out their capital city. You take out their capital city. So why do the Germans want to capture Paris? Right. So they can essentially take over France because now France's government is my operation. Without France's government in operation, their military, I'm not saying it's completely just abolished. I'm not saying that. But there's no unifying, single force, or there's no unifying single structure. That's what I'm looking for. There's no single structure to the French military. This happens in World War II. In World War II, Germany actually captures Paris. Adolf Hitler is is at the top of the Eiffel Tower looking over Paris after Germany captured it. And at that point, the French military is essentially just right along with the British military. Because again, they don't have that single unifying structure. I'm not talking about like just physical structure, but the structure of the military has is given to it, is provided by the government, because that's where your orders are coming from. We understand this in our country because, well, essentially, the leader of the military is the president. That's that whole commander-in-chief title that the president has. So again, it is very important in war. If a capital city is captured, a lot of times that means the war on its last legs. Now, we'll talk about World War II and how that's a little bit different. But with our case right here, Germany is trying to knock out France very quick. We've talked about this numerous times. Why does Germany want to knock out France really quick? Because they want to focus on Russia. Why do they want to focus on Russia? We have to talk about that. What?
Because they're bigger.
In what way?
Like, as a country,
Okay. Yeah, like geographically, they're the biggest country in the world. What else do they have bigger?
A lot of people.
More population, bigger population. So they also have a bigger military. So they want to knock out France so they can focus their effort, their energy on the bigger force. And we talked yesterday about how, well, France isn't going to go down that easily. France is not going to go down that easily. All right, very good. So we're going to talk about two battles today. The first one, let's go and get that pulled up. Anybody got anything interesting to say yet, Devin? Nothing?
No,
Nothing good?
not really.
Okay. Not just interesting, like stuff that's, on topic. All right. So first battle. Oh, that's first battle of Marne. I'm on the wrong one. I need to go to first battle. All right. I asked you, I think we talked about this. On, I think, this must have been Wednesday and Thursday of last week. I asked some people in class to give this a try. Try to say the name of this battle. Ypres? That's a good guess. Incorrect. Not Ypres. It's not Ypres.
Is it pronounced like an I?
Pretty close. Yeah, you're on to something. How do you think it? Well, as soon as it's loads, how do you think it's pronounced? Don't know. Ypres? Nah. So this battle we're going to talk about today, this is known as the first battle. And again, I need you to listen to this because you'll get confused. The first battle of Ypres. I know what you're thinking, Chris. You looked at me and you said,
What?
Ypres. First battle of Ypres. Why is it called that? Because it's a French word. This is a French word. French, I'm going to teach you a little bit about French today. With French words, you don't pronounce the last consonant if it is the last letter. Think about it. Buffet. That's a French word. How do you pronounce that? Not with the teeth in, do you? Nope. Ballet, same thing. Croissant. That's how they say it in French. Croissant. Not croissant. You get from McDonald's.
I like this one.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Pretty good. But that's a little bit about the French language. So you might hear this battle called many different things because if you don't understand a little bit about the French language, I'll tell you this. The only reason I know a little bit about French, and I say a little bit. So don't get it twisted and think, Mr. Triton's bilingual. You are exactly mistaken. Mr. Triton's trilingual. He also speaks Spanish. Not true. I failed Spanish. Took French in college. Learned a little bit. It's one of the things you learn. That's like day one stuff. You don't pronounce that last consonant if it is the last letter. Now, if it's got a vowel behind it, then you pronounce it. Dang, y'all learned so much for this to be about war. You're learning about the French language, Carissa. You're learning more than you ever thought you would, aren't you? You learned that Antarctica is just a continent, not a country. You didn't know that. You didn't believe her? She didn't tell you why? Ah, dang it. Okay. I'm trying. All right, so now let's look at this. The setting of the first battle of, I said, Ypres. October 19th, 1914 to November 30th, 1914. So this happens in Belgium. This Ypres is in Belgium. I know what you're thinking now. You're like, Mr. Trident, you said this. Ypres is a French word. Why do they speak French in Belgium? Well, good question. You got to know a little bit more about European history. See, that's the thing. There's a lot that, American history is simple. I shouldn't say simple. It's not simple. It's convoluted. It's complicated. But it's a lot simpler than European history. You know why? You'll take a guess. Why European history might be a little bit more complicated?
Because they're complicated.
Well, they are complicated. Europe has been around. I shouldn't say around. European history, like documented history. I'm not talking about just like living on Europe. Because again, people have been living on North America since the first people from Asia crossed the Bering Land Bridge. I don't even know when, across Alaska. Then they got trapped here after the last ice age, Carissa. Yeah, that's why people of Asian descent and Native American descent, they have a lot of commonalities, because guess what? The first Native Americans were from Asia. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Dave wants to know if we're taking notes on this.
No, you don't have to take notes. That's what I told you guys from the first part. You don't have to take notes on this. You fill in that chart from this. Have you been taking notes? You don't have to. You just have to fill out that chart from this. I'm just teaching this to you.
Said that yesterday.
I said that yesterday too. I've said that several times.
Oh, I was taking notes off.
It's okay. Look, you're going to have notes. And I put this under the notes section. This is just a resource. So I put resource or map. It's okay. You're not in trouble. If anything, you get yourself better. This is how you understand it a little bit better. There's a lot more that goes on when you're just reading than when you're reading and writing. So you don't have to write this. If you want to, you can. You will have notes. Like tomorrow, I'm going to give you like some actual like notes. This is just, hey, let's just talk about it. Let's go along with it. If you got questions, let's ask. There's a lot going on here. And I'm trying to help you fill that battle chart. Look, I'll be honest with you. Again, I haven't taught this class virtually and in person before. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to make this work too. So, It's okay. So, anyways, the reason why European history is so complicated is because, again, it's been documented for longer. So, like, France and Belgium used to just be one country. And so people from that area, which is now Belgium, spoke French. Well, when they became their own country, they didn't just abandon the language. When the United States became its own country, it didn't just abandon the English language. No, it continued to adopt it and speak it, right? That's how it works. Okay, so we've got the setting, we got the date and the location. Let's take a look at the countries involved here. Again, a lot of the same countries we've talked about so far. In our next battle, we're going to talk about some different countries we haven't spoken of yet. But our cases right here, we have Germany, again, the main central power. We haven't talked about Austria-Hungary too much. Austria-Hungary is the second largest central power. They are involved with Russia. There's some fighting going on between them on the southern border between Russia and Austria-Hungary. On the eastern front, we talked about yesterday. We also have the Allied powers. We have several countries here, France, Britain, and Belgium. Again, Belgium is essentially between Britain and France. Belgium, at the beginning of this, is neutral. Belgium is wanting to continue to stay neutral. You know what the problem is? Well, there's fighting that's going on in Belgium. So, on account of the French and account of the British. So they kind of get pulled into it. They really don't have too much of an option. They kind of just get pulled into it. All right, so let me give you a little background on the first battle of Ypres. All right, so this battle this battle mark would be the last of the race to the sea. I actually need to add something right here, okay? So if you're listening, I want you to make a little, mental note right here. Last of the northern northern race to the sea. I'll explain here in just a minute, and you'll understand this because these two battles right here that we're talking about, they have something in common. The first Battle of Ypres is the last of the race to the sea. Yes.
Jackson like speaking like Russian, German.
Okay. Don't just ignore it, especially if it's Russian. I'm just kidding. I'm not anti-Russian.
You should be.
I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, hold on. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing or the wrong thing right now. All right. Anyways, so let's take a look at this map real quick. You know I like maps. Why I like maps? So they can show us some stuff. All right. So when we say race to the sea, let's actually zoom in just a little bit more. All right. There we go. So we say race to the sea. Okay, Paris is right here. We talked about Paris yesterday, the Marne River being right here. Okay, this race to the sea is you see these lines right here. These lines are enemy trenches. The Central Powers are in red, okay? So what you see, this line going through Europe, going, from like essentially southern to northern Europe. Hold on. I know you got something. I just saw it on your face. So these lines in red that are going from southern Europe to northern Europe, these are Central Power trenches. The blue line is Allied Power trenches. And again, they're building them adjacent to each other. What they are doing, they are continuing to try to outflank each other to reach, the North Sea. So whoever can get here first and hold this down controls the ports in this area. You know how important it's in the map. You know how important ports are? Really important. Yeah. Incredibly important. Also, did you know that that if you were to take the population, if you look at the United States, I want to give you something that we can understand. We understand a little more about the United States. Not much, a little bit. You look at a population map of the United States, you know where the most populated cities are in the United States?
Airports.
A lot of them on the East Coast, but yeah, they're near bodies of water. You know why that is? That used to be the only way that people, transport was ship, right? Through water. Whether it be the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Mississippi River, your biggest cities are typically near water. I'm not saying it's like they're at the beach, but they're not far from these large waterways. It's important. Ports are important. That's easy to remember. Ports are important. Now it's a little bit different because you live in the middle of America. We can get stuff out to you. We can fly it to you. We can drive it to you. But it's still more cost effective to ship, like actual ship it. That's why it's called shipping. Ports are important. So why do the French, the British, the Belgians, also the Germans, why do they want to control the North Sea? Again, not only to control, if they control the ports, they control who gets in, who gets out, what comes in, what goes out. So controlling these port cities, controlling these ports are extremely, I can't begin to tell you how important they are, because they're really important. Okay? Good. So let me zoom out from that map. Let's see if I can get this in that's the perfect spot too. All right, so again, they want to control the waterways. Both the Allied and Central Powers, so Germany in this case, Britain, France, Belgium, mainly Britain, France. They're building trenches, just trying to outflank each other. So one will get the edge, the next one will get the edge. One will get the edge, the next one will get the edge. That's how it is for really a series of about a month of just building trenches to try to fortify and get to the North Sea. The goal for Germany, because the Allied powers would be the ones to reach Ypres, the first ones to reach Ypres. The goal for the Germans in the first battle of Ypres, is to break through the Allied lines and capture Ypres and the other ports there along the Belgian North Sea. All right, so now we got a good background. Let's look at the casualties here. So for Germany, let me erase what's on the board right there. All right, Devin, looks like you had something to say a minute ago.
They were talking about whatever Jackson was talking in German. They were like milking sugar or something like that.
Okay, if If anybody's cussing on there, you put that to a stop real quick, okay? I don't care if it's in Russian. I don't care if it's in Russian, if it's in German, if it's in English, French, I don't care.
Then somebody found something in Arabic.
Okay, so we just discovered languages today.
I guess so.
There's plenty of them. Plenty of them.
Gage said it's all clean.
All right, good. We need to stay that way. This is recorded. For better or worse. For better or worse, right? All right, so Germany. Again, Central Power. Casualties. Again, what are casualties? When we talk about casualties, what are we measuring? We're measuring those that have been killed.
MIA.
MIA.
Or
Not talking about capture. Not talking about capture. This actually has a different category. So, but you're right. Killed, missing, and what was the other one? Yeah, like wounded to where they're not going to be able to continue fighting. Like a wound in battle is not like, it's not like just a deep cut you get stitched up. But that's not a wound in battle. And especially not in World War I. We're talking about limbs being blown off, faces being mangled. Sounds cool. We're gonna watch something next week. I mean, plastic surgery. The reason plastic surgery exists today is because of how mangled the faces were of some of these soldiers from World War I. They would go home and their wives would divorce them because they couldn't stand to look at like how disfigured their face was. I agree. But that's where plastic surgery originated, is to help these guys because again, like I want you to understand exactly like this is the most brutal warfare that anybody had seen thus far. Right. And dude, they had been living in holes in the ground for years, some of them for years. And then they have these catastrophic injuries. They come home, they're experiencing like what's called shell shock then, which is similar to PTSD, what we call it today. And then again, their faces are mangled. They can't look at themselves in the mirror. Their children can't look at them. Their wives divorce them because they can't look at them. And so plastic surgery, like the first plastic surgeons are actually like, they're considered like miracle workers because they're helping these guys go back to somewhat of a normal life. It's wild. It's crazy. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Man, that'd be awful. Yes, sir.
Do like other countries capture soldiers to go fight on like their side?
Yeah, that's it happens a lot in the Navy. It's called impressment. You talked about the Revolutionary War, or not the Revolutionary War. You talked about the War of 1812 before, right? You never learned about the War of 1812 the entire time you've been in school? Ever?
my head.
You never heard of the British kicking down the doors of the White House and marching in?
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The whole reason that war was fought was because the British were capturing American soldiers. You know.
Hold on, wait, there's a song about it.
Yeah, it's called the Star Spangled Freaking Banner. It's the Battle of Fort McHenry during the War of 1812 in August of 1814.
That's not what I was thinking.
Yeah, I learned about that.
You learned about that?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure y'all have too. It's just maybe sometimes you need a little reminding.
Yeah.
Golly, I about lost it. I almost messed up.
I knew you were going to
Almost
catch somebody
went
with that thing today.
Almost went off. Huh?
I said I knew you were going to catch somebody with that thing.
I ain't get. It's multifaceted. Would you call this a flag stick or a flagpole?
Flagpole.
A pole?
Actually, no, it's because the poles are like way bigger.
That's what I think. We had a whole discussion about this last class.
Yeah, it's a stick.
That's all the stick.
It was kind of like an Artesian.
Well, hold on. It's multifaceted. So you got a flag stick. You got a spear. You got a javelin. If I'm on a horse, it's a lance. That's all I got right now. I'm working on my comedy routine right here. I appreciate you being a part of some
It's a staff.
So what?
Weight at the other end and the bottom, and it's a staff.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, that's good. That's good to think about that. So multifaceted. All right. So again, German casualties. We have 135,000. French, Belgium, and Britain again together formed the Allied powers. The first battle of Ypres. About 100,000 casualties. Again, just look, very early on in World War I, we're seeing a lot of casualties. But this is going to be nothing. This is going to be nothing to what we are going to see. I know that I blow this, I maybe make this a big deal, and maybe you're thinking to yourself, Mr. Trogan, like, I mean, I get this was bad, how bad could it have been? Like, this is absolutely the worst war that anyone had ever seen before. Really, it was the worst war anybody'd seen before until the first, hydrogen bombs are dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. And then it's like, oh, that might be the worst. But until then, World War I. Can't say that too fast. You'll get mixed up. No, you're good. You're a professional. Me, I start saying World War I fast. Like, World War I. I can't do that. I gotta enunciate. World War I. It's brutal. Let's talk. So let's look at the victor and the significance of the first battle of Ypres. So it is an Allied victory. Again, we have the Allied flags here. What's this top flag? Who is this? Is a flag of France. Very good. This is a flag of Britain. This is a flag of
Germany.
oh, Belgium. Oh, God. Let's go back. During World War I, this is the flag of Germany. The big white one right there. They got to be extra. Germany always has to be extra. I'm just kidding.
What was the casualties for
100,000. All right, so it is an Allied victory. Germany had actually succeeded in penetrating the Allied lines. We talked about this with our trench diagram right here. This isn't I guess this isn't our trench diagram. This is like a trench bird's eye view. So again, we talked about how these, if let's say this is the German Central powers, this is the Allied powers. You got those front lines for each across lays no man's land. The whole goal of trench warfare, do we remember what that is? What's the goal of trench warfare? Not just to win. So if I'm right here on this front line, what's my goal?
Stay covered.
not get shot?
Well, yeah, like not get shot. But how do you win in trench warfare? By keeping your trenches and by taking their trenches. That is. There's a lot of stalemates in World War I because nobody's going to be able to capture the enemy trenches. You know why? Because people die in no man's land. That's why it's called no man's land, because no man wants to be out there. But that is actually how you gain territory. War is all about territory. Now, I shouldn't say all, but war is a large part about war is territory, controlling territory. That's the thing about trench warfare that is very difficult and it's very different than what we've seen in the past is because there's not a lot of territory changing hands. There's not. That's not how trench warfare works. Trench warfare is stagnant. So what's going to happen is these battles are not going to be near as fast as they have in the past. Like, yeah, the whole marching in lines and shooting and taking a little bit of territory at a time, that's traditional European style warfare, and we've seen that for hundreds of years. But right now, things are changing. The first Battle of the Marne and this race to the sea with the first Battle of Ypres is going to be where we start to see trench warfare on a large scale for the first time. Okay? And there's not a lot of territory changing hands because it's virtually impossible to turn those trenches. Is it impossible? No, it does happen. It does happen. But, dude, it takes a lot of luck. Probably more luck than skill to turn these trenches. So, again, if this is the Allied powers, this is the German powers, the Allies move up and take this German front line. Now, this second line called the support trench turns into the front line, and you just keep adding on. So again, territory, even if it does change hands, it can kind of be, you can do a little something about it. It's not like capturing cities. In World War II, we see a little bit more of a return to that mobile type of warfare. But this is not mobile. Again, yeah, battle saw the beginnings of trench warfare. Germany, the big thing about the first Battle of Ypres is that Germany would first use gas, for the first time in battle during the first Battle of Ypres. They used two different gas. They deployed tear gas and chlorine gas. Does anybody know what tear gas does?
Also makes it irritate your eyes.
Yeah, irritate your eyes. Why would it be important to irritate the eyes of your enemy?
So they can't see you.
Perfect. Simple, right? So they can't see you. Or at least if you disrupt their vision, it makes you harder to see. Makes you harder to see. You know what chlorine gas does? Gets to your lungs. Gets to your lungs. Harder to breathe. Right? Harder to breathe when you get something in your lungs. So they use this for the first time. Now, gas can be during World War I. Gas can be very effective. But it can also be very dangerous. Not just for the enemy, but also for the the countries or the army, the squadrons. They're using it. Why is that?
Because it could probably leak
The leak over their side. What has to be favorable to be able to use gas?
and
So you have to have gas masks. What else? You have something that you cannot control. The wind. The wind. Can you control the wind, Austin? I was about to say, dude, if you can, man. If you can. Next time I go play golf, I'm going to take you with me. Because I need it blowing right towards the hole. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. I'm a bad golfer that can hit a couple good shots. Well, I think I'd rather be a good golfer that hits a couple bad shots, but I'm not. It's just not going to happen. It's never going to happen. I've accepted that. So I need a guy that can control the wind. It's like Storm on X-Men. That's like awesome power. She can do more than that. She can do more than that. But controlling the wind's pretty effective. Can't control the wind though. In different instances, Germany is going to deploy gas, and the wind is going to change direction. And they are going to use that gas on themselves inadvertently. All right, very good, very good. Okay, so this is the first Battle of Ypres. We talked about the first Battle of Ypres, and we talked about that northern race to the sea, the sea to the north, the race to the North Sea. Now we're going to look at the southern end of that, because again, we talked about Europe a little bit. We've looked at their geography. We didn't name the seas, the waterways, but we're gonna look at some. We're gonna look at some. Devin, how's that chat going? Everybody good?
Yeah.
You're a good mod. You keep everybody in line. All right, let's go back. Let's pull up another European map. Why don't I just save a good one? That's what I'm gonna do when you guys leave. I'm gonna save a good European map from World War I. Hard to find one these days. Hard to find a good one. Hard to find a good one. All right, let's pull this up. Just because I want to show you something. I need you to see Europe in its entirety. Can we use this one? I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Again, this is called World War I. It is largely taking place in Europe. So that is kind of where we are concentrated, even though there are going to be countries from around the globe that are going to be involved in World War I. The United States is going to be involved. We're going to talk about United States involvement here in the next couple days. Okay. So let's pull this up. All right, so we just talked about, remove that. All right, we just talked about how right here we have had Germany and France doing this number right here. Okay, to eat right there. That is the race to the sea that we just talked about on the northern side. This right here, as you see, this is the North Sea. Now, we know what else we're going to see? We're actually also going to see a race to the sea down this way to control the Black Sea. And this is the Aegean. No, what's that wrong? Aegean Sea. Okay? So with our next battle, the Battle of Gallipoli. The Battle of Gallipoli. What we're going to talk about is this area right here between Bulgaria and Turkey. I know those of you that are, virtual cannot see exactly what we're talking about. If you look at the Black Sea under Russia, and you look to the west, you'll see Bulgaria, and you'll see Turkey, which is part of the Ottoman Empire. You'll see Greece, and that waterway right there, that small canal, that is what is going to be fought over. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question real quick. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm actually going to hold on to that question. I'm going to hold on to that question. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to hold on to that question. Let me erase what's on the board, and we'll get started with the Battle of Gallipoli.
I like that one.
I like that one too. Gallipoli. There's a lot of look. I'll say this. I know that we don't know too much about European history. I am always learning more about it because, well, again, I'm not like well versed in it. But there's just it's interesting because there's so many different people that live in Europe. There's so many different cultures because you have such a small continent with a lot of different people there that speak a lot of different languages, that have, again, a lot, very different cultures. And so it's always something going on. And that's interesting.
Same way in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, again, you have a lot of different cultures in Africa. As well. And it's a little bit larger, so they're a little bit more spaced out. You have a lot of different cultures there. Asia is the same way. A lot of different cultures, but again, a little bit more spaced out just because of the size of Asia, even though they have a lot more people. Like India or China have the most. Oh, they're 1 and 2 population. Like India
has the most population.
India, okay.
Any other country.
Okay. Yeah. I knew it was. I thought it was India. I wasn't positive. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look. The Battle of Gallipoli. So Gallipoli is it's going to be referred to as the Battle of Gallipoli. It's also going to be referred to the Gallipoli campaign. So you may see this referenced in different manners. I just want to make sure that I make that clear.
And where's Gallipoli located?
We'll go. I got a map. I got a map for us, and we'll check it out. It's actually the Gallipoli Peninsula. Okay, so kind of like Florida. Okay. All right, let's get this. I know this is loading slow. We're going to talk about some countries that we haven't discussed just yet. If I can get this pulled up slowly but surely. I ain't even got that many tabs open today. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dude, single digits?
I hate it. Never have more than just. If I have more than 4, I close.
I don't know how you do it.
Keep them minimized. We have everything to check.
I don't know how you do it. How many windows you got open?
Yeah. Just the one. I got the one with like all 10.
All right. So the Battle of Gallipoli. Gallipoli, we're going to see again the southern race to the sea. So again, we're talking about water. Water is important again because, well, that's mass transport. That's where your supplies are coming from. That is where, again, large numbers of troops are coming from. It is 1914, 1915, going into 1916, what we're talking about today. And, again, the automobile had just recently been invented and mass manufactured. It's taken a while. The automobile is very early on in its infancy. So you're not transporting a lot of people by automobile. The railways, well, again, it determines who controls the railroads, determines who gets to use them. The water, again, a little bit more wide open, but you got to control the ports. Okay, the Battle of Gallipoli, we're going to see we're going to see a series of battles that take place on land and on sea. Okay, so Battle of Gallipoli. So what have we got here? So the location of what we're talking about with Gallipoli, we're talking about a peninsula. Peninsula is land that has water on 3 of its sides. Okay, so it's almost an island, but not quite. This is in modern day Turkey. I've got a map in our next slide, and we'll kind of see where that is in modern day Turkey. Turkey was part of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is going to cease to exist after World War I.
How many countries did the Ottoman Empire split into?
That's a good question. Right off the top of my head, I'm thinking, I don't know, because there's so many little countries around that I'm not too familiar with. It does split up into several different fragments. Turkey is going to be really largely considered what the Ottoman Empire was. Sometimes people use Turkey and the Ottoman Empire simultaneously around this time. If you want to look that up, that actually might be a good thing to look at. We'll actually take a look at that later on with a map that compares pre-World War I Europe, post-World War I Europe. Okay, so I want you to see the dates right here. The dates right here are pretty important. February 19th, turn that around. February 19th, 1915 to January 9th, 1916. How many months is that? 11 months. Okay? Now, again, this is a series of battles. This is a series of battles. It's not just one large battle, but it's all taking place relatively in the same spot. Relatively in the same spot. Yeah, I figured it would be a little bit more than what I could typically think of. It wasn't all. Turkey, I guess, is more like almost all of Turkey was part of the Ottoman Empire. Like Egypt was parts of it. I know that for a fact. Greece, again, parts of it. All right. Again, this takes place over 11-month period from 1915 to 1916. All right, let's look at some of the countries involved. That's right. So we have the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire is going to be the central power, but the Ottoman Empire is pretty vast. Pretty vast. We're just talking about the countries that were part of the Ottoman Empire. You still got that? You still got that up? You didn't close it, did you? That's why you don't have tabs.
I'll pull that.
Because you immediately close stuff out and think you don't need to see me. I'll just keep it open. I might go back to it.
Well, it's 'cause we can just get back. We close it so it doesn't run slow.
See, here's my thing. I feel like every time I close a tab, I might forget.
Just press Control 15.
What is that?
Control. Pop open the history part, like we see your history. Press Control 15 and do the big caps.
I never thought about that. But then I gotta keep that. I gotta keep looking at that to make sure I'm not forgetting something.
Just keep it open after
Okay. All right. Look. I'll try. All right. So some of the countries. So Turkey is going to be pretty much a large part of the Ottoman Empire, but some parts of Greece, some parts of Bulgaria, Egypt, Hungary, Macedonia, Romania, Jordan. So you got pretty vast bit of land right here. Ottoman Empire. They are of the Islamic faith, which is why you see their flag look the way that it does. Okay. On the Allied side, man, you got a lot of different countries here. A lot of these we haven't talked about yet, but I'll tell you what they all have in common. Does anybody know what every single country outside of France? So let's take France out. What do all these countries have in common?
They're all colonies of Britain.
They're all colonies of Britain. That was good. That was good. They're all colonies of Britain. So Britain, the reason these countries become involved is because, well, Britain has colonies in every single one of these countries. Australia, you know how Australia was, like, you know why Australia, let me phrase this different.
Britain just sent all its prisoners to Australia.
There you go. That's how I was trying to get around to that. I couldn't figure out how to phrase it. Yeah. You want to know how not mess with people from Australia? Because they took the meanest, hardest people from Britain, and they sent all their prisoners from Britain, sent them to Australia, where everything can kill you. And then the ones that are still there today have survived all of that. So they don't mess people from Australia. Why don't mess them? You ever box a kangaroo, Austin? No. Me either. But apparently it's pretty tough. What does that say about you and your family? I'm just kidding. Not everybody. I'm just kidding. Not everybody.
I mean, she was born here. She's new.
Oh, okay. Man, she might be crazy. Everything in Australia can kill you. You know where the majority of the Australian population lives? Around the edge. You don't want to go.
Yeah.
Middle of Australia.
It used to be a prison.
Huh?
The island, like the country itself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For British prisoners.
Yeah.
That's why they speak English. That's why Australian. And yeah. That's why their accents sound very similar. Their dialect.
What about New Zealand?
New Zealand,
I wouldn't
Same,
be
I
interested in
guess.
that.
I don't know too much about New Zealand's history, but I do know that, again, they are in relation to Australia pretty close. From what I am familiar with, this is just part of kind of that circumnavigation, Britain having the world's largest, strongest navy, continuing to explore and push their boundaries further into like that part of the Pacific Ocean. India. So the reason that Britain wanted a piece of India, well, several reasons. So to open up trade with the rest of Asia. That's what Columbus was trying to do in 1492. He was trying to find a way to Asia so they could open up trade between the two. Britain, what they are able to do, I guess probably around I think it's like late 1700s into 1800s. They're able to start that quest to colonize India. Again, it takes place over several decades, several centuries, really. So India is going to be an ally by proxy of Britain. And then Canada, as we know, Canada was like, how do I phrase it? The reason that people from the United States speak English is because, again, the United States was largely colonized by Britain. Same thing with Canada. It's largely colonized by Britain. Now, there were some parts colonized by the French, but really after 1803, all the French are gone from the United States and Canada, and it's essentially the United States further expanding, and then England is kind of holding that land in Canada. They actually come to battle with each other from north and south during the War of 1812, which we referenced a little bit earlier. Okay, so let's kind of get through this because we're starting to run out of time. Actually, we're running very low on time. We got like 3 minutes. Oh, dang it. All right, I can't. I don't think I can do this in 3 minutes. All right, so here's what we'll do. I should say background anyway, so I've already screwed up. All right, here's what we'll do. We'll finish this. I know you guys won't be here tomorrow, but what we'll do is we'll finish this. For those of you listening to our virtual, we'll finish. I thought we get out. So 50.
Oh.
Yeah. No, you're good. I might forget. All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll finish the Battle of Gallipoli tomorrow. We'll continue talking about some of our major battles. I do have something a little bit different for you tomorrow, so we're not going to get through all of our battles this week as I originally thought. So we might back up that battle chart just a little bit. All right. Hey, I appreciate you guys had a good time with you today. Again, just make sure you're logging on, getting everything done that you need to get done. Hopefully you got your interim report. As long as you've turned in everything, you're doing just fine right now. I'm going to grade your notebook quizzes over the next couple of days. From Friday, you're going to have another notebook quiz this Friday. Again, like those weekly quizzes, just to make sure that we understand and we're keeping up. And so you know the main information you're supposed to be taking away. All right, other than that, appreciate you guys. Devin, anything good on the chat? No? Okay. All right, I'll see you guys later. Went a little long and didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but hey, that's all right. We had a good conversation. Also had some technical difficulties leading off. All right, so we'll call it a day. If you guys have any questions, you're free to ask. If not,
Isn't there like two different races in Canada, like French Canadians? Yeah.
yeah, to an extent, in a way, yeah. All right, we're good. All right, let me. Well, hold on. Nah, that's fine. You guys got any